All right, so hey, and welcome to Alas for the Awful Sea actual play. My name is Haley from Storybrewers, and I will be the GM today. We are going to be playtesting one of the Kickstarter exclusive adventures from The Wind and the Waves. So I'm really looking forward to playing that today. So I'll go and get everybody to introduce themselves and their characters. Matthew, did you want to start off?
Okay. My name is Matthew, but my character's name is James Williams, although originally it's James Marco. I am a merchant who is the brother of one of the other characters, but they'll come up with that in a minute. I'm also an outcast on the basis that due to a rather unfortunate incident in the Middle East where I was financing some transitive things, I no longer have a left hand due to accusations which totally spurious and which I'm completely innocent, but you know. So I am a merchant with an outcast. I've returned home to the place where we are playing this game due to the fact that my twin sister has just passed away, and I've attended the funeral, which is the first time I've been back here since I left when I was 17. Although I said I was 21 at the time. And I'm only just meeting, the other characters and going from there. So yeah, so I'll let them introduce themselves and then we can go from there.
Cool. So Jim.
My character is Bo Marco, the older brother of Jamie Boy over there. I'm an old dog of the sea. I've been on many a ship, small, tall, and in between. Whaled a time or two, been up to the Arctic, but usually not much further than England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. I'm not often back in Kill, but when I am, I always make sure to bring something for my dear little sister Maeve, who sadly has passed away, and we've come to visit with my mother, Una, and pay our respects. And quite shocked and surprised I am to see Jamie here after all his time away.
Great. Cool. And Vincent.
Hi, I'm Joseph Spencer. Kind of knobbly-kneed, slight, and I got ink-stained clothing. I'm a native of Kill. I'm a scholar, or I like to think I'm a scholar. I go to the grandest library in all of Kill with maybe 12 books. And in my arms is a book called Solanum Tubercurum, which in parentheses says on the origin of the Irish lumber potato. And I believe in the scientific profundity and the noble Irish potato. I dream of adventure, but I've never actually left this town. And so to me, I feel like sailors are both terrifying to me and also admirable explorers. I have one secret, which I will reveal later, but sometimes when the moon is shining, on occasion my hand disappears. And so I've been trying to learn more about this mystery.
Great. Okay, so the year is 1848, and we are in the midst of the Irish Great Hunger, the famine that went on in Ireland. And in the midst of this, Maeve Thorne, who is the sister of James and Bo, has passed away. And so Bo and James, you've returned from the funeral. So James, you are also on a business trip to pick up some goods from Ireland and take them back to England, food. So you've got your ship with you, or the ship that you're using. I don't think you own it, but the ship that you've chartered.
The ship I'm renting.
Yes, the ship that you are renting. What's it called?
It is called Tara's Remorse.
And so you've been on Tara's Remorse, and so Kill Kill is in apologies, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong to anyone listening, by the way. Is in the north of Ireland, where the famine hasn't been as bad, fortunately for your family and those in the surrounding area. And you've just been to Bantry, which is sort of just north of where we are, and you've picked up some grain and some cotton, and now you're coming to Kill Kill for the funeral, but you have to go down to the south of Ireland, where the famine is pretty bad, to pick up some butter and take that back to England.
Yes.
So that's just so you know.
They liked Irish. Yeah, they liked Irish butter.
They liked it a lot.
Now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it tastes great. Not that most of the people in Ireland would know that. All
those Irish.
And so that's kind of where you're on. So Bo, you're back in Kill Kill. Have you just finished being out to sea, or have you been back for a little bit?
I was out to sea, and I was in a port in Scotland, and I came over. A distant family member let me know that perhaps Maeve was either ill or something was going on. So after taking the small wooden barrel around my neck filled with scrimshawed whale bones and throwing it on the ground and looking through it, I got a feeling that I had to get back. So I don't have a ship. I don't have any business. I just basically came back to see what was going on with the family.
Yeah, great. And of course, Joseph, you are you're in Kill Kill. This is where you live, and at because you live there, you know a bit more about the other guys about what's been going on. So basically, leading up to the funeral, there was an incident. The town is still talking about it. Nobody knows what's happened. But so Maeve and Maeve's husband, Benjamin, who Joseph knows well, have also got a little boy called Bliss Thorne. He's about 6 years old. And Joseph, you didn't actually see this happen, but you heard the rumor around the town that what happened was Bliss ran out of their house one night screaming his head off. People came to investigate to see what was going on, and when they arrived, Maeve's dead body was on the ground of the house, and Benjamin was nowhere to be seen. And so basically, it was totally a shock. The whole of Kill Kill was just astounded that this has happened. So as a result of that, there's now the funeral. But that's what you've heard happened. And nobody knows where Benjamin is. So you've arrived in town for the funeral. Your mother Una is very upset. So she's getting older. She's looking frail, and like with the events that have happened, she's looking older and more grey and moving slower than you can ever remember her doing. So James, you've been away for a very long time. What's a first interaction like when you arrive back and you see your mother for the first time in years?
There's a very long silence as we just sort of coming to the door. We just look at each other. Nothing is said verbally. After a few moments, she says that there's some had it drying on the windowsill if I'm hungry. And I go over and I pick it up, and then that's when she notices that I no longer have a left hand, and she is naturally a little bit put out by that, and so she immediately starts to fuck over me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she ask you why you're missing a hand, or is she sort of just like?
The first instinct is, oh my god, your hand's gone. That just happened, and then she sees that it's fairly
Old.
It's at least
Yeah.
It's a couple of years at least.
Mm.
I tell her that I lost it in a falling off a horse. I lie basically.
Yeah.
I told her that I fell off a horse and it was smashed and had to be amputated. She seems to believe me, but she believes me in that way that we have where she knows that I'm lying, but she's not going to press it.
Yeah.
At least I think that's what it is. I don't know. We're both very sort of guarded with each other, but it's a positive guarding, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yes.
We're happy to lie to each other.
Yeah. So she's got too much on her mind and like right now, and she's happy for things to sit as they are. She's just glad that you're here.
Yes.
And I think it's while you're talking to her that Bo enters the shop. So the Marcos, which is Bo's family, own a shop in town called Marco Mercantile, which is now pretty much just run by Bo's mother, Una. And so, Bo, you enter the shop and you see your brother for the first time in a long time.
Basically, my face drops. I look at him. I'm like, Jamie, how dare you come back? This, of all times, you come back now.
My twin sisters died. You don't expect me to come back for that?
You didn't come back for the wedding that you almost stopped from taking her dowry.
I repaid her tenfold.
She's dead. How does that repay her?
What? I didn't pay her when she was dead.
All that money you got didn't do us much good, did it, Jamie?
James. My name is James.
And
Sure.
For once in your life, get it right.
And at this point, your mother pipes up, and she's like, "What are you fighting for? It's your sister's funeral today, Bo. You've been away just as long as you've been away too. And if you had been here, who knows what would have happened?" And she looks off into the distance.
Yeah, yes, mother. I know, but when is it? When is the funeral? Like, what is it now? Do we need to leave? Do we have time to get ready? What are the details?
Yeah. So the funeral is that afternoon. So we'll just jump over there. We'll just jump to the funeral. So it's the funeral. Your family has rented a coffin because there's only a couple in the town, and this is all of a sudden, and a hearse, and the coffin is taken down to, well, it's actually taken up because the church in Kilkeel is on top of a mountain. And it's called the Narrow Church because it's on a very narrow strip of land, and from there you can sort of look down on the whole of Kilkeel. And so it's taken up to the cemetery. And before the ceremony takes place, your mother asks inside the church that the family have a moment alone with the body, just to say goodbye, because you two haven't seen, obviously, your sister since she's passed away. And she waits till everybody is sort of gone outside. and she
Where's the husband?
well, nobody knows where he is.
I was actually asking my mother where's the husband.
Yeah. She tells you nobody knows where she is. She says, it's time that you all find out what's happened here while you've been gone. And she says, one night in the middle of the night, we heard Bliss screaming his head off. And, Bo, you've met...
A boy?
You've met Bliss, yep. He's...
What boy?
A dark-haired 6-year-old.
Oh, God.
Your nephew.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I gathered that. Thank you. I gathered the fact that she was my sister's son, therefore that he is my nephew. I understand that concept.
I didn't know you knew so much about family, Jamie.
Quiet, both of you. All right? Listen to me.
I'm listening, Mother.
Good. Now, we heard the boy, Bliss, screaming his head off. We went to check what had happened, but by the time we got there, your sister was dead on the ground. My little Maeve and her husband was nowhere to be seen. God knows what happened. The house was a mess. And look, and she opens the coffin, and you see your sister's body looking pale and lifeless. And she turns the body a little bit onto its side, and you can see that there are there's bruise marks, and there's signs of a struggle.
So it looks like someone hit her on the side.
It looks like there was exactly. There was a struggle or a conflict, and she looks injured. And your mother says, I didn't want the village to see this, but you two had to know.
No, they shouldn't know. She never seemed to have any problems with Ben.
I mean, not that I know of, not more than a normal husband and wife, but who knows? He was a very strange man. And to be honest, she never liked to talk too much about herself. I can't believe this has happened.
Yeah. All right, well, we hunt down this Benjamin, and we bring him back here, and we throw him in front of whatever passes the local constabulary, and let them handle it.
Well, we can't do that. We don't want this family shame to be shown to the village. We should administer justice ourselves as a family.
Your brother's right. I don't want the village knowing about this. One way or another. The boy.
All right.
He's still here. You
Oh, good.
You saw him coming in. He's just moping around outside. And
All
your
right.
mother tells you he won't say anything about what happened. He won't say anything.
I'll ask him.
Well, good luck, because he won't speak to me.
All right. I think the rest of the village is getting suspicious. I think we should let them back in here.
All right.
Start the procedure.
Let's go bury your sister. And she.
Before we close the casket, I put in the casket a small pewter flower that I was bringing back for her as a trinket, not knowing that she was dead.
So your mother sees that and sort of touches you on the arm and gives you sort of a sad, understanding look. And then the coffin is closed, and she calls the pallbearers to come and take it back off to the ceremony. And as the ceremony is being conducted, Joseph, you hear a whispering inside your head. And you're kind of you've heard this before. It's Mabel. So do you want to tell us a little bit about Mabel at this point?
Sure. So over the past few weeks, on certain nights in the moonlight, I've noticed various parts of me would start to go invisible. And then one night, I went invisible. I was completely gone. And when I looked in a mirror, there was a young girl, a small, ghostly apparition. And young Mabel O'Leary, as she called herself, lived somewhere south, and she had died in the famine. And she's sometimes she takes control, and whereas I'm not the adventuresome sort, she has the courage that only a young child could have.
Right, yeah. So you can hear Mabel whispering. She's not taking control at this point, but she's whispering inside your mind, and she tells you there's something strange about this one.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, this one has no ghost.
Oh, like her soul or her. Usually, Mabel, do you also see other dead people?
Yep, I see ghosts all the time. Yeah, I do, and usually I can tell when if their ghost is here or their soul is gone on to the next life. But this hasn't happened to her. She's got no ghost, and her soul doesn't seem to have gone either.
Well, as a man of science, again, I don't believe in ghosts whatsoever. But if what you're saying is true, that is indeed a mystery.
You believe in me, right, Joseph?
Yes, Mabel. Of course I do. Of course I do. And he's a little bit afraid of her in a weird way.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, she could take control of his body, so.
But my goodness, I knew Benjamin, Mr. Thorne, and he was always an odd one. He too would say, he's a rather stoic fellow, but after a couple of pints, he would often talk to me about the ghosts that he would see in the woods. So I think it's quite odd. What would make him run away?
And Mabel's just like, in your mind is like, oh, well, it's a lovely day. Yeah, so the funeral is conducted, and
did we actually see Spencer talking to himself? Or did that all just happen in his head?
Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it, Joseph? It's all sort of inside. You can talk to Mabel inside your mind. Is that right?
Yes, but I kind of, look up, and I might be whistling nervously or something. And
right.
Right in the middle of Amazing Grace too. It's very distracting.
I'm kind of like swatting at invisible flies.
Yes.
And while the funerals happened, and the minister asks if anybody would like to say any last words.
For the family, I would like to thank everyone for coming and let them know that there will be tea served afterwards, and we'd like for them all to come. And also, I would like anyone who knows anything about Benjamin or his whereabouts to speak with us, because we need to let him know. He might be distressed. He might be upset with the death of his wife, and we want to make sure that he's found and comforted and everything is well.
Cool.
God rest me sister's soul.
And everyone sort of like nods and stands there solemnly while the coffin is lowered, and then your mother asks you, Bo, to sort of shovel the first of the dirt onto the coffin. And the ceremony sort of finishes, and everybody goes over afterwards to the tea that Bo mentioned.
Which
Jamie is generously offered to pay.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. Loves his mother.
James, at this point, I'm going to get you to roll the move on your outcast sheet here.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to
happen.
Yeah.
So do you want to read out?
Okay. So, yeah, I have, as the outcast, I have evidence of my sin, which in this case is the lack of a left hand. And I rolled a 6, so I failed that.
Great.
So my sin is revealed, and others are not shy with judgment. Due to the fact that I did a roll plus balance. My balance is 0. So with a 6, I just missed.
Yeah.
So everyone notices that I ain't got no left hand.
Yeah.
So we have to.
Yeah. So, so earlier in the ceremony, in the evening, somebody asked you to help carry the coffin.
Yes.
And that you actually had to refuse because you only got one hand. And so everybody was already like sort of disapproving and suspicious of the circumstance that you weren't helping to carry your sister's coffin, which is a very, very important thing to do. And
yes, especially my twin sister.
Yeah, your twin sister, who is, you know, a very important person in your life. And as the evening goes on, people are realizing that you're missing a hand and that you've been away for a long time, and you're looking very tanned, and nobody knows what's happened to you. And they keep giving you like looks and glances, and it's making you feel uncomfortable. And particularly the farmers who saw your ship pull in, laden with goods. And the farmers, like I said, you're in the north of Ireland, so they're not doing as badly as they were in the south, but they still do look like they're not having a great time of it. They do look leaner than usual, and they look like they're exhausted from working so hard, and they are looking at you very distrustfully right now.
And is this at the tea?
Yes, this is at the tea.
And it's mostly like just a certain group of farmers. It's kind of...
Yeah, it's the farmers that were like closest to your family, but Kilkeel's not that big, and so like quite a lot of the town is represented there. And it's like, you know, your sister was like an important person to a lot of the town as well.
Do I notice that they're kind of giving the sideways glance to my brother?
I don't know. Do you?
Am I sensing motive, or what is that? Is that
you can you can notice that they're giving him the sideways glance, but if you want to find out why, you can try to read another's thoughts, or if you just want to get an overall sense of what's going on, you can read a situation as well.
I just kind of want to read the situation between what's going on with them and my brother for the moment.
Yeah.
So I think that is roll plus brain.
That's right.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
You pick brains as the like most important feature of your family. I might have put a little something in my tea to cut off the sorrow, because I rolled a 2. Oh, excellent! Nice.
They're all really jealous of me. Just like
it was going to be dramatic too, because I was going to defend you and everything.
Yeah, and so.
Oh
God.
But I'm just like,
You instantly assume that they are like, you know, interested in James because here's a self-made man who's, you know, because you're thinking with a Marco like mindset, right? What's important? Money, you know, traveling, being like a person who's made out of the world, made their own way, and so you instantly see the farmers look and you're thinking, hey, they totally respect him.
They always liked him better than me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And
they're just like Mom.
And what they really want is just to meet him and get a chance to talk to him, right? But, you know, it's a bit awkward because he hasn't been home for a long time. And so you go up and you start introducing the farmers to James.
Oh, God, no.
And the farmers are like glaring at James like
true men of the sod they are, Jamie.
Yeah, I can tell that. I can tell by how much tea they're drinking. Because the minute they heard that I was paying something, you was, oh yes, I'll have 2 cups, please. They're just knocking it back.
Yeah.
I would.
And they've got their arms crossed, and they're acknowledging you, sort of like very reticently.
I know. I take at the first opportunity. I I excuse myself and head out the door because I assume that Bliss is probably just outside kicking around some dirt or something.
Yeah, that's exactly where he is. He's
So I approach Bliss and I attempt to engage the child in conversation.
So how do you do that? What are you going to say to him?
He's sort of like just playing to a stick in the ground. I assume, just like
yeah. He really looks like he's blanked out. Like he looks like he's staring into space.
Yes. All right. I sit down sort of next to him, and I don't say anything.
Oh, frozen for a moment there.
Well, hopefully he'll come back on while he's outside. Yeah. I'm gonna go and have them get a bottle of the Irish whiskey from the back, since Jamie's buying, and pour it into the farmer's tea.
Okay,
and
good.
Anyone else who's around, so if Spencer happens to be around.
Yeah, I walk up with my tea, and my hand's a little shaky, and I say, no, none for me. I can't handle
this will steady your hand, son. It's for me, sister.
Oh,
a toast.
I guess there's a first for everything, and he accepts your whiskey, and
just a tad.
And after a sip, he kind of coughs and sputters and almost spits it out, but tries to regain his composure. And he says, "Mr. Marco, you wanted to talk about Mr. Thorne. I knew him a little bit.
Benny?
Yeah.
Was he a good man?
I met him down at the pub, and the funny thing is, after a couple of pints, he likes to talk about some of the funny things he sees in the woods at night. Ghosts, will-o-wisps, those types of things. I don't believe in ghosts myself, but I'm a man of science. But I thought his stories were kind of interesting.
So you're saying he was in the woods playing with fairies when he should have been home with me sister and his son, drinking with you.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But he kind of just laughs nervously and is kind of like looking around and kind of unsure of what to do.
Hopefully this wasn't a daily occurrence.
Oh, no. He was a hardworking man, as far as I could tell. But something did strange happened one evening, and it's probably the drink, which is why I don't really like to drink. When we were out in the woods, we saw, well, I don't know how to put this. I think we saw a native, a man running through the woods. We never saw him again, but it was something that I couldn't figure out myself. It was just a glimpse, but maybe it was the.
Where was it? In the same place in the woods you'd used to go? Can you show me this place? Perhaps Benny's there, mourning for me sister.
Oh, sure. It's just a small clearing in the local woods, not too far at all. But of course, when it's daytime, there's nothing out there.
Well, the sun is going down, so perhaps later tonight, my brother and I will meet you, and we'll see if we can go and find Benny.
Sure.
We'd be very obliged.
And
I'm sure me brother Jamie would reward you well for helping us fix this family business.
Oh, don't mention it at all. I'm just here to help. He's kind of shakily drinking his tea.
So you were outside talking to Bliss, who was staring off into space.
Yes. I just introduced myself. That I'm James and I'm your uncle. Not that matters much. And I think this is manipulated another. because
So-
I'm trying to. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was just ask you, what do you want from Bliss?
I'm. Well, actually, no. Reading of his thoughts because I want to get him to start talking.
Yep.
So that's a brain, which luckily I'm actually good at. So yeah, I'm just trying to sort of get a sense of if there's any way I can get him to open up, and like I'm hoping that maybe like say I've seen some stuff and I've traveled around the world and I'm interested.
Yeah, if you roll to read another's thoughts, then you'll find some options there that will let you
Yes.
find out how to.
The bottom one is how can I get this character
Yes.
to blind? So, how do I get this character to talk?
Yes.
And 8. So yes, I can ask 1, and I ask how do I get Bliss to start talking?
You get the feeling he's really scared. If there's a way you can make him feel safe, then he might open up.
Okay.
And even when he's looking at you and you don't look familiar to him, you're a strange person, and
Yes.
even though his brain understands who you are, you can see he's almost
Yes.
looking like he's about to run away.
Okay. I can't roll that again, can I? And I can't read another thoughts again in the same conversation.
Yeah, not in the same conversation, yeah.
No. Alright. Okay. I will take a slight long shot and assume that if it doesn't work out well, then I try it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose just say, look, things to be pretty scary. The world can be pretty cool, but the world can be pretty scary. But I mean, I've been around the world, and I mean, if I can come back and if I can handle this, and I show him my stuff. If I can sort of get past this, this can happen to me and I'm fine, then maybe our family is braver than you think. Maybe you're braver than you think you are, and maybe you could fight it in yourself. Lying through my teeth. Which is,
Yeah, but it's an adorable lie.
it's an adorable lie, exactly. Yes. So that's my. I don't know if that's.
That's definitely
Manipulate or-
seduce and manipulate. Oh, sorry, this is called manipulate now. That's definitely manipulate another.
Okay, cool. Alright, so roll plus beauty, which again I naturally have positive. Nice. And that dice fell off the table. I really wish I'd. Oh boy, okay, snake eyes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just
I
showed
don't
him
think it works.
the stump of your arm.
Yes.
And he looks like he's having like a flashback almost, or like he's just imagining what might have happened to that stump, and he runs off inside to find Una and sort of like stands behind her, like looking at you like that guy is scary.
Yeah, fair enough.
And Una gives
Well,
you a
at least
look
didn't wanna
like Una gives you a look like why are you frightening like Bliss? Like leave him alone.
Yeah. At least he didn't run off in the other direction, because then I would have had to do chase. That's never a good look. Okay, well, I tried, and I failed. The moral of which is never try. No, I go back here and sort of go back into the room, go back into the house, find a corner, and just sort of lean against it, drink tea, and just stare at everyone till they leave.
So actually, I'm gonna say, because making things worse. While you're outside, before like Bliss runs in, and you sort of have a moment like, that didn't work so well. Maybe I shouldn't have shown a 6-year-old the stump of my arm, kind of reflection. And while you're out there, a few of the farmers come out, and there's one in particular, who is sort of like got this gaunt face and these green eyes, and he stares at you, and they sort of surround you, like not so much like, hey, we're going to beat you to a pulp, but more like, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
And he says, been a long time since you've been back here, hasn't it, James?
Yeah, it's been a few years. I sent letters and stuff, but obviously that didn't arrive.
Mm-hmm. What are you being out doing? You know, I see you got big fancy ship now.
I rented a big fancy ship. I don't own the big fancy ship.
Mm-hmm. We heard from the docksman. It's full of wheat. Is that right?
I wouldn't say full, but wheat is the main component of what I'm carrying. Yes.
Listen, you know, things are a bit tough here at the moment. What do you say you leave some of that bit behind for Kill, huh? The place that raised you.
The place didn't raise me. My mother raised me. My father raised me before he died. My sister raised me partly.
We could, and he looks around to the other farmers for sort of checking. We could buy it for half a shilling a bag, and you know it's worth about 2.5 shillings a bag.
Yeah. Instead of leaving you food, why don't I leave you this box of very valuable items that I also have on the ship, and you can buy more food with that. The whole point was that the box would be not valuable and a bit so light.
Yeah, that's acting under pressure, because you're trying to hide the truth.
Yes, okay, fair enough. It's roll plus balance, so I'm not doing well today. This box of crap. I mean, a really useful stuff. I vaguely try to. It's like the old thing of like if you give me a watch, well look, 100, 200. Here's $5. It's like no. I attempt to persuade them to take a box that I tried to convince was valuable, and I failed.
Right. Yes. So that doesn't go too well for you. So not only do they don't believe you, they know you won't help them.
Yes.
And they walk away, but you know this is not over, and you know that you need to somehow keep a very close eye on your ship. Because it's a fishing village. There are a lot of boats around here.
Yes, okay.
Boats that could easily be used to get to your ship.
Yes, and could possibly even hit it in some way. And total accident, perhaps. I think I'm desperate. Okay. Honestly, at this point, I just walk away from the weight. I don't go to my boat. I know it's through the party.
Yeah, okay. No. This is Apocalypse World. In Alas, you can split the party as much as you want. All right.
Awesome. Okay.
Or
yeah,
do we notice back in the house that the farmers left and Jamie hasn't come back in and Bliss ran in? Because I think at some point I wouldn't necessarily be looking for Jamie, but I'd be wondering why the farmers haven't come back in for another drink.
Yeah.
And I would probably wander out looking for them.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And when you walk outside, you can sort of like see them on the other side of the fields talking among themselves and looking very angry. And I'll leave this up to you, James. Does Bo catch sight of you before you make your way to the ship?
He sees the back of me.
He sees
the back of me about 100 yards down the thing, walking rather quickly back towards my boat.
I'm gonna yell out down there, Jamie, come and see your mother.
That's not my name.
All right, James. Your mother needs you. Your sister's dead. Come and have a drink.
I don't hear that in inverted commas.
So you just keep walking.
I just keep walking.
How do you react to that, Bo?
I would go back in the house. I would see that everyone left, make sure my mother gets to bed, and then when it's about time to go to meet with Spencer, I would go first to Jamie's boat to go collect him, because he's got to go too.
Cool. 5-minute break and we'll flash forward to the evening. See you in 5.